I'm Green.
And I'm Purple.
And I'm Lavender.
And welcome back to the Green and Purple. It doesn't work now.
The purple.
The Green and the PurpleCast plus Lavender. We're back today, and we got... Oh, God, the mic is very loud. I bring it down a little bit. It's still loud. Is that better? It's a little too quiet. You cheeky motherfucker. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
It might be... Yeah, it's probably
fine.
Good. Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's a learning process.
As you go in editing, it's just like, hi,
yeah, I'm gonna make myself scream with my scream of me predicting my scream. Anyways, today we're talking. Last time we talked about 90s cartoons. Today we're gonna be talking about horror movies. Kara has IGN's list of the 25 greatest horror movies of all time.
Yes.
So this is a very exclusive list.
It's very exclusive.
So we're gonna see. It's same thing with like the 90s cartoons. We'll see if we've actually seen the movie and what we thought of it if we have seen it. So go ahead, Kara. What's the first on our list?
All right, Cabin in the Woods.
I have. Cabin in the Woods is good.
That's a good one.
It was pretty clever.
It knows you're going in expecting it to be a horror movie, and it just plays with that the entire time. I'd say Cabin in the Woods is one of the... I'd put that up like near the top of the list.
Yeah, because I mean it deals with all the tropes, and it knows it's dealing with all the tropes.
Right.
It has like the classic horror villains, and then once you know what's going on, it's pretty...
I mean, I can see them putting it lower just because it really isn't that scary of a movie. It's more funny than scary to me.
It's more funny and like clever, because it's like if you've seen horror movies, then you're like,
It's just a good movie overall, not so much just a great horror movie. It's just a good movie. So what's the next one on our list?
The next one is Scream.
Just the first one?
Yeah,
I like
first.
Scream.
That was a good one.
That was good.
That's funny because Scream's kind of similar to Cabin in the Woods in a way, and then it just kind of like breaks it down and the genre itself down.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like that was like one of the first horror movies I saw as a kid. It was like, I mean, even though you're not supposed to see like scary movies like this, you're gonna be like, okay, mom, like there's something in my... There's something in here. Don't go down them stairs. But
Dad, there's a monster in my closet. There's no monsters in your closet, sweetie. Dad, there's something in my bed.
I remember for some reason when I was a kid, I saw this one Garfield comic, and it was just like there was a monster in Garfield's closet. And it was just supposed to be a funny thing, like the monster was just benign or whatever. But for some reason as a kid, that like scared me. I was never afraid of anything in my closet until after I read that Garfield comic. Garfield scarred me.
Garfield. It's the kid stuff that targets. It's not the real scary stuff.
It gets you.
It gets you.
What's the next one on our list?
The next one is Dracula, like the original Dracula, like 1931.
Oh god, like the black and white?
Like the black and white.
Wow.
Like
I have not seen that one.
I haven't seen that.
I don't even know if I've seen Bram Stoker, or the newer one.
Yeah.
The one that came out in like the 80s or 90s or something?
I think I know what you're talking. Yeah.
I think it was called actual like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't even think I saw that one.
I know the CDI game.
That's different. That's equally frightening, but in a different way.
If we ever get our hands on a CDI, we have to play that one.
Every game on the CDI is so bad. It's good.
It's so beautiful.
I mean, the only two CDI games that I'm aware of that I think are actually worth your time are Sonic CD. And
well, no, Sonic CD was on the Sega CD.
Sorry,
that was there was the Sega CD, which was an attachment for the Genesis.
Right.
The CDI was made by Philips. It was a whole different console on its own.
Right. Okay.
That's why it was so weird that like the Zelda and Mario games were on it, because it was the first and only time they ever licensed it out to be on a different console. So those are like the only Mario and Zelda games you'll see that aren't on a Nintendo console.
And that was the last time because they learned.
Yeah, they're like, maybe this will be a good idea. It wasn't. It was a bad idea.
Never again.
Because the other one I was thinking of is called Popful Mail. I'm trying to. I think that was on the CDI.
I have no idea.
I think it was on the CDI.
The only CDI games I know of are like the two bad Mario games and the two bad Zelda games.
You mean beautiful Zelda games?
Yeah.
That's
Wait, I thought they were.
There's Wand of Gamelon and Faces of Evil.
Right. And then Hotel Mario.
Hotel Mario, and then is the other one just like Mario is Missing or something? Or is that a different thing? There might have only been one Mario game. I can't remember.
I think
they were all bad though.
That's all you need to know.
Phillips CDI was a horror movie all its own.
You know what they say.
That's actually on the list. No, I'm just kidding.
You know
that was the next one.
Wow.
You know what they say? Toast is toast. That's a thing Mario says in Hotel Mario.
Oh, God. Mario was just dumb in that one.
He's always been dumb.
He's more dumb in that one. What's the next one on the list?
The Babadook.
The Babadook?
Babadook!
I like the Babadook. No, go ahead.
Oh, it was like one of the more modern horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that was just a couple years ago, I think.
I mean, yeah, like 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it actually did scare me.
It actually was kind of
creeped
creepy.
me out.
Like the story of it. I was like, okay.
Stop, please.
It was consistently unsettling, like the whole movie. Like honestly, the parts with the Babadook actually in it are actually, in my opinion, not even the creepier moments in the book. The movie. I mean, the movie's about a book.
Yeah.
I just think the whole movie just kind of has the unsettling, just.
Yeah.
It's the fear of what you can't see type of fear.
We watch it with the lights out, which is the best way to watch a horror movie.
Obviously.
And you're just like, oh, that won't be scary. And then, like, the first 10 minutes, you're like,
no. you know a movie or a game is scary whenever, like, because I try and have the lights off and, you know, headphones on whenever I'm playing a horror game or whatnot. But whenever you have to, like, turn the lights on, that's whenever you know you're like, okay, this game's pretty scary. It's like, I'm not going to play it in the dark.
Good. Did you hear that? What's that? It's just my dog.
It's okay. It's okay. And what's the next one we got?
The Blair Witch Project.
I never saw that.
I feel like if you saw it at the time of its release, it would have scared the crap out of you.
Because it was more or less the first of the found footage type of movies. And I think, and I mean, there was quite a few people at the time that actually thought it was real because no one had done it like that. So someone saw it and there's like, oh, is this real? And I think that would make it really frightening if you thought it was real. And just the fact that it was kind of an entirely new subgenre of horror when it came out. But watching it now, I didn't watch it until after the fact. This was after I'd seen Paranormal Activity, all of those. It's just a lot of build-up with not a whole lot of payoff, in my opinion. It's like them wandering through the woods like, oh no, we're lost.
Like, you lost the map? Where didn't you keep the map?
And then at the end, there's a dude standing in the corner and like, bah!
It's like, I feel like when they got lost, that was probably like the creepiest part for me because I don't like that.
No,
like,
it's unsettling. But whereas the Babadook like makes you unsettled the whole movie, and then you have like some payoff. The Blair Witch, it feels like it makes you unsettled, but then nothing
you're just like,
really big ever happens.
I'm like, oh, well, okay.
All right. I mean, I guess it was creepy.
I guess that's if you want to do that.
Well, what's the next one we got?
American Werewolf in London.
I thought that one was funny when I saw it.
I never actually seen it, and I remember your dad keeps saying it and how it scared him. But I'm like, I don't know. I'll be.
It's a pretty old one. I think my dad saw it when he was really young.
Yeah.
And so it scared him a lot when he was a kid. But seeing it now, it's more funny than anything. Just because, at least for me, it's like the beginning's actually like pretty decent because they're in like Ireland or something, like kind of out in the country, and they're like, don't leave the road, just stay on the road. But they try and take a shortcut like through the field, and then like the werewolf, gets them or whatever. But once they actually go back to, it's American Werewolf in London, like. Once they go back into like the city type setting and there's the werewolf there, it just seems kind of funny to me. It was just like someone driving a car, and a damn werewolf in the road again. It's again. What's the next one? Oh god, the mic. Oh, that's the real horror.
Dawn of the Dead, 1978.
I've never seen that one all the way through.
I think I saw it.
I feel like we did see that. It's like.
Is that the original or is that the remake?
Oh no, it's like the one where they're holed up in
the mall.
I think so. I think that might be it. But I feel like it's old. Like that's more of a newer one. Yeah. Not in the 70s.
I mean, it might have been one that they've remade. It sounds very.
Yeah.
The name Dawn of the Dead seems like.
But it's like the zombies. Like they come. Like all of a sudden, everybody wakes up and it's like, oh, everybody's a zombie. And
I've never found zombies to be that scary. To be honest, like
that sounded creepy.
I mean, I guess when the idea first came about of the dead are walking, that's pretty scary. But the way they are now, it's just they all seem so dumb that it's really only frightening when there's like a lot of them coming at you. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. It's more. I don't know. I guess like if it's like The Walking Dead. I mean, which is like The Walking Dead's based on that anyway.
Right.
So it's just like I don't know, the kind of unsettling part of waking up in a hospital and then it's like everybody's dead and they're zombies. So have fun with that.
I feel like zombies more often than not are just kind of used as like they represent danger, much less horror. It's just like, oh, this present danger of there being zombies around or whatever.
Yeah, because I always felt like whenever I watch zombie movies and stuff like that, the thing that scares me the most isn't the zombies; it's the people that are going crazy because of the zombies.
Right. Like, I mean, it's telling you to talk about The Walking Dead, but all the big enemies in The Walking Dead are always like
the
people.
real actual people. It's not like some zombie.
You know, the zombies cause problems, but they're not the main villains of the show.
Yeah.
What's the next one we got?
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I have not seen any of the Nightmare on Elm Street
What's wrong
movies.
with you? Get out!
Wow.
You're off the show. I'm just kidding.
That's Freddy, though, right? Freddy's Nightmare.
Freddy
Right?
creep.
Our mom let us watch basically anything.
Yeah.
Right.
She would cover our eyes on like the really horrifying, scaring parts, but we knew all the horror monsters and everything like that.
Right.
So Freddy scared the shit out of me. So
He, in a way, he's kind of like aimed towards like frightening children, right? Because he
Exactly.
goes into people's nightmares.
and there's like that freaky nursing home where it's like 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you,
Yeah.
and everything like that. And then there's like a really scary backstory behind him, like really, really messed up and creepy. But
Wasn't he like a?
he was like a child molester,
Yeah.
and then the townspeople like burned him in a fire with his like hooky thing, and he had that ugly sweater, and he's probably gonna come in my sleep and kill me because
Yeah.
I'm talking shit about it.
Definitely. It's gonna kill you.
But I mean, it
was
was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
It was.
But if I remember right, they kind of made Freddy into like a hokey kind of
Yeah.
comedy character in the later movies, right?
Yeah,
Where it was
especially
like,
with-
Freddy!
With Freddy versus Jason, that was more comedy.
yeah.
I laughed the whole time.
Like, but, I mean, that's kind of the whole thing with a lot of horror
Yeah.
franchises. They start off genuinely frightening, and then they almost become parodies of themselves
Oh,
by
yeah.
the end.
This is like,
The first one has, like, Johnny Depp in it, doesn't it? Like, whenever he's
when
really young.
Yeah, when he's really young. Yeah.
What's the next one we got on our list?
The Ring.
Oh, The Ring.
Yeah.
I
That
like
was
The
actually
Ring a lot.
pretty
The
good.
Ring scared the crap out of me
yeah.
when I was a kid. Especially at the end when you think everything's over.
No.
And then the girl like, climbs through the TV. I'm like, oh no!
No!
Stop!
I thought it was over, but I
Wow, this 3D's really good. Oh god.
Yeah, The Ring's the perfect example of combining more American-style horror movies with Japanese-style horror movies.
Which I feel like when it comes to horror, the Japanese, like Japan, they have it down.
Yeah.
Like they know how to creep you out.
I think it's two very different types of horror. You have American-style horror, which, you know, some people find very frightening. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, those type of, like,
yeah.
slasher-type
kinda-
movies. But then other people don't find them really frightening at all. And then you have Japanese-style horror that's much more psychological, I'd say. It's much more about making you unsettled and creeping you out and just things being off.
Yeah.
That's why you have, you know, Grudge. It's not about some serial killer. It's about this, you know, creepy girl and like this omnipresent.
Because I mean, they're
thing.
very like aware of spirits and everything.
Yes.
So
Right.
It's like it's dealing with that. It's
And
like,
most
don't
of the
go.
time, most of the it's yokai. Most of the yokai are like vengeful spirits. They're people
Right.
that were wronged, and they're like, "Oh, now I'm coming back to seek vengeance upon those that didn't treat me right."
In Japanese horror, it seems there's a lot more of the whole spiritual type of horror, whereas in American horror, the more physical things that, you know, it's a guy trying to kill you, or it's a monster, Bigfoot trying to kill you, you know, stuff like that.
gonna find you.
But I think The Ring does a really good job of combining both of them. It has a little bit of the, you know, kind of monster type feel, but it's also very much just, oh god, this video is really
Like,
creepy
"Ew,
to
that was
watch.
creepy."
Like,
7
ugh.
days.
Seven
days.
minutes.
That would be a much
Wesker,
shorter movie.
No!
No, Wesker, no, get off the TV.
What's the next one we get?
Poltergeist, the OG Poltergeist.
I like Poltergeist.
I like
That was-
Poltergeist.
Yeah, when she's like, they're here,
It's like, no.
The TV
can they go away?
No, they cannot.
On the one hand, I feel like the movie might not have aged super well now, just because the special effects are so old. But on the other hand, I think it's just well made enough where it's still unsettling and creepy.
The clown part still gets me.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't.
And
like
then the tree.
Oh yeah, that's.
It's another example, kind of like The Ring, where you think the movie's over by the end, and then that's whenever things really start going down. Which I kind of always respect in horror movies, because they make you think, like, okay, everything resolved. Oh, God, no!
You thought.
Yeah, you thought.
I thought, but no.
What's the next one we got?
The Thing.
I love The Thing. The Thing's one of my favorite movies, like, hands down.
I haven't watched
Get
The
out.
Thing.
I hate you.
Excuse me.
That got serious.
I've always wanted to, like, watch it, like, sit down and watch it. I remember bits and pieces, but I've never fully watched
You've
it.
seen The Thing, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think isn't that, like, one of your favorites or something like that?
No, I mean that's Austin's.
Oh.
I think my all-time favorite horror movie is. I think it's The Ring.
I mean, I love The Ring. But I love the Thing just as a movie. Like, The Thing's another one of those horror movies that's not really that scary. It's more just the idea of everything that's frightening. Just the whole, it can be anyone perfectly. Like, they wouldn't even be able to tell, like, they would know everything. Any question you could ask them, they would answer it just how that person would answer it. But they could still not be who you think they are. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's just kind of, I just think the story idea is really cool. But it's probably not that frightening to watch anymore. Plus, it's got Kurt Russell in it, and I love him. Kurt Russell's pretty good.
And then they made a remake. I remember they did.
The remake's actually a prequel to
Oh my god!
because whenever they find the thing in the movie, like, I think it's the Swedes. The Swedes have already found it in the ice or whatever. And the more recent movie was about them. I heard it was not great. I didn't ever see it.
It wasn't surprising.
What's the next one we got?
Halloween with Michael Myers.
Oh
yeah.
Halloween.
Halloween's a good one.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh.
Halloween 1 and 2 were both pretty good.
Yeah, they're.
I remember when I took like this English composition class a few years back in college.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in college, but like my freshman year of college. My professor, he had this section where he wanted us to like watch a bunch of horror movies and like really go into depth and like decipher them. And Halloween was one of them. And he said that he loved it just because it's a good way to show that like Michael Myers is the villain, but like he's not. It's not like he's totally evil.
It's kind of a tragic type character.
Yeah.
He was very mistreated when he was a kid, right?
He was severely abused, and then like Jamie Lee isn't like that's his sister.
Yeah, Jamie Lee's his sister.
Yeah,
That's why
so
he
then
goes
she's-
back to
yeah,
find her. I
yeah,
think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's he's evil, but is he really like?
Yeah.
Is he more evil than the people who made him the way he is?
It's not his fault that.
Yeah. He's still scary,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't just be like, oh, he's not like Freddy, where it's just like
Yeah.
he was evil through and through. It's just kind of. Plus, the mask is just creepy. I don't like that mask.
And it's also not like Friday 13th, like Jason.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he was bullied. Like,
Yeah, because
so
when
it's
they
like-
didn't they like he
They
drowned in
he
the
drowned in the lake.
because the counselors were like
Yeah.
banging or whatever, and they didn't hear
Yeah,
him.
they didn't hear him drown. And then I mean, of course, his mom was a little bit loopy, but
But again, you can't even hardly blame
Blame him, yeah.
She was just had lost it after losing her son. So
Yeah.
it's those kind of.
it's like you gotta kill them, Jason. Kill
They're carrying me up the mountain.
So then,
That's a crossover.
Yeah.
it's over. Don't you know about holes in Friday 13th?
I was watching with my sister the second Halloween. Well, she had already watched the first one before I got home, and then I watched the second one with her. But I didn't notice this, but the main girl in the first one that like survives it by the end, she's killed off really early in the second one, and it was because she was actually like being stalked, like in real life. The actress
Oh my god.
was being stalked by like a fan of the movie, and like was keeping harassed by people that liked the first movie, and she like wanted her character to be killed off because she thought it might help them like stop the whole thing, because they wanted her to be like have a bigger presence in the second movie, but she just gets killed off immediately because she was like, I just want to do it and be done with this whole thing, and I don't think she was really in much after that. But that's kind of... I feel bad for her because it's just like overzealous fans, you know.
Being creepy and everything.
Yeah. What's the next one we got?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's
good
pretty
one.
creepy.
That's a good one. Because, I mean, like, Texas is crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, but anywhere it's, like, any, like, watered down whole, like, you don't know where that town is, there are some crazy stories where it's just, like, a family of cannibals or some dude called Leatherface with the freaking chainsaw. It's like, oh, we're just going to stop here. And
I mean, especially living... You know, we live in Oklahoma, and it's easy to think it's like, oh, you know, modern world, computers everywhere and everything. But there's definitely towns here in Oklahoma, you know, where they might, like a telephone's probably the most advanced technology they have in their room, or, you know, their house. And, yeah, just kind of the idea of being isolated out in the backwaters. Same thing with, like, a movie like Deliverance. Kind of plays off that same fear of just, like, ugh.
I don't really want to be here right now.
No.
What's the next one we got?
The Shining.
Ooh, Shining's another one I didn't find that scary. There's scary parts, but overall the movie's more just kind of
unsettling
and just kind of depicting Jack Nicholson's character slowly going crazy the whole time. It's weird though because Stephen King pretty recently wrote a sequel to The Shining,
I think so, yeah.
but it more went into like the supernatural abilities of the kid, which I thought was a pretty minor point in the book and the movie. I mean, it was bigger in the book than the movie, but the movie kind of downplays it. It's just the kid's got magic powers.
That's cool. Hi.
Jack Nicholson's killing everybody.
Here's Johnny. Hi, what's up?
It's. I want to watch The Shining again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
What's the next one we got?
Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh.
Which, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
My mom refuses to watch that movie.
I can understand that. Because it's pretty graphic. And
she doesn't... Because my mom doesn't even like horror movies. She doesn't even watch horror movies. But for some reason, she watched Silence of the Lambs with my dad or something. And she's just like, no.
Because it's like based off Forensics, and I like Forensics even though I'm going to like education and education. But like Forensics, it's pretty interesting. So like the whole psychological background of it, and then like, I mean it's basically like based off true facts and everything like that. And then Jodie Foster is awesome in it.
Yeah, I think that those horror movies are always pretty freaky whenever they try and make it feel like it's as real as it can be, because then it makes it easier for you to kind of like put yourself in the movie and to be like, oh no.
Puts the lotion on his skin.
No, stop!
Put the lotion in the fucking basket!
What's the next one we got?
Alien.
I like Alien.
Oh, yeah.
Alien or Aliens?
I like both of them.
It's better than both of them!
Because they just put Alien, but I mean, like, you know.
I mean, Aliens is more of an action movie.
Yeah, it's more actiony, but...
That's the weird thing, because they're both really good, but they're both completely different movies. Alien, though,
that was pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just, I love sci-fi movies and I love horror movies, and it just, combines them. I love it. It's a good movie. It's got all I can remember is Ripley, not the actress's name. Sigourney Weaver.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, she was great. She was good.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Good
There's a
alien
cat.
story.
A cat named Charles, I think. I don't remember. Maybe that's Smooth McGroove. I don't know. What's the next one we got?
Jaws.
I don't remember Jaws. Jaws was like one of the first scary movies I saw. Which I didn't even think it was that scary until Quint got eaten at the end. And I was like, ah!
Oh, no!
He get in! That scared me, even though, I was like, did the actor die? And my dad's like, no, it was just a movie. It's okay.
That's what's kind of funny when you're a kid, because you don't know if it's you don't know if it's real or not, because I mean...
there's no way they could make it look like that shark was eating someone.
And they just ate him. It's like every movie's a snuff film to you when you're a kid.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
it's real.
It's real. That dude died.
This is real.
It's real. It's real life. Things happen out here.
Mm-hmm. But I love Jaws. Jaws has really good music.
It does.
Which a lot of horror movies kind of overlook in favor of just ding!
The stinger.
Yeah, just having a good stinger, that's all you need.
And just cue the jump scare. You're like, ah!
Or you know, at least Halloween had the iconic theme, which, you know, definitely makes you...
It's a jam.
Summer Jam 1987.
Don't you remember it?
What's the next one?
Psycho.
I've never actually seen the original Psycho all the way through.
I saw it once.
I saw the remake with
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn. I like that one.
I think more than anything, the original Psycho was very important.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of the first horror movie, or at least one of the first horror movies. But yeah, by today's standard, it's pretty tame.
Because I mean, it had like the actress die like pretty early, like the main character, and you're like, oh, the main character's not gonna die. They always survive.
Oh,
it's
they
like,
did.
You thought.
It's weird because it's hardly even really a horror movie. It's more just like that happens, and then the rest of the movie just kind of explores how crazy Norman Bates is, which is interesting. I mean, it's Alfred Hitchcock, so all of his movies are kind of a little bit of a unique take on an old subject. What's the next one we got?
The last one that they put on their list was The Exorcist.
I have never seen The Exorcist.
I've never actually seen that.
Have we? None of us? It's weird because everyone I've talked to has seen it is always like, oh, it's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I think it, more than probably any movie, you'll see The Exorcist on the top of most, like, best horror movies of all time.
That's the one where the line, your mother sucks cocks in hell, comes from, right?
I think so, because I think it's the little... the girl's obviously, possessed.
Yeah.
And I think, they're, like, performing the exorcism, and then the demon's, like, speaking through her.
And then doesn't her head spin around? She
spins around, she, like, vomits on everybody and stuff.
That's great.
Good. Yeah, I'd love to see it, but...
Yeah.
I feel like it might also have a little bit of poltergeist syndrome in that its special effects might...
Sorry, I scratched you. It's okay.
It's okay, buddy.
It's okay, buddy.
Don't patronize me.
It's, I'd like to see it, but...
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
It'll be really interesting to see if the underlying just horror of the movie can still make it scary despite it being a little dated or whatnot. Because even if you, like, seen it again now, but you did see it back then, I think it'll still, like, retain it just because you remember how scary you were.
Right.
But seeing it for the first time now, it'll be interesting to see if it's actually still frightening.
Like, just give you the spooks.
Give you spooks all over. Yeah. I remember I was really frightened of another movie that went on there, The Sixth Sense, whenever I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't really scare me. It was interesting, but I remember, oh my god, what was it? With the aliens?
Aliens? Signs?
Yeah, Signs. Signs scared me.
Signs scared me a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember after watching that, I asked my mom to turn on all the lights upstairs so I could go to bed.
I slept in my parents' bed after I saw Sixth Sense. We didn't even finish it. We got halfway through, I threw up, and then we slept in their bed.
It's like, oh, so you don't even know. Oh.
My mom was so mad at my dad. Cause,
I remember.
It was his idea to, like, let me watch it, but she was like, I don't think he's old enough yet. And then, like, I don't know what it was about it, but I got to a certain part and I just got really scared and I, like, threw up. And then, like, I remember while I was in the bathroom, like, washing my hands, I just heard my mom, like, I told you what to... And he was like, I thought he wasn't a little big.
I didn't know. I didn't want my son to be this way.
He's such a disappointment. He doesn't like sports. Doesn't watch the horror movies.
I hate
It's always funny with movies like Signs or The Sixth Sense, though, where they're not really horror movies, but to kids, they can still be scary, you know?
Well, I think it was Signs was scary for me because I related to the kid because I have asthma.
Right.
So, like, I really related to that. I was like, oh, God. Like, I know.
It's me!
Yeah, like, I know what he's going through right now. That just moment, like, I can't breathe. And, like, all this is going on right now.
Not only are there aliens around, but now my son can't breathe. So that's good.
Great. He's got the asthma.
Sucks to your asthma.
Shucks on your asthma.
Sucks to your asthma! Well, that was us going through a bunch of horror movies. I I'm so conflicted about the horror movie like genre because I love horror movies, but there's more than any other genre. There's so much crap horror movies. Yeah. I think, like for every good horror movie, there's probably 100 bad ones.
And I always feel like between horror movies and horror games, horror video games scare me a whole lot more than horror movies do.
Right.
Like I turn into a little bitch when if you guys saw our last Halloween special when I was playing Alien Isolation, I was a little bitch.
Yeah.
And it's so. I guess that's part of the problem with why there's so many bad horror movies is that horror is so subjective. So one person might see a horror movie and be like, "Wow, that was really scary," whereas another person was like, "What? It was nothing." I mean, the Strangers I think is a good example.
That
like,
one's.
Cara, you thought that was pretty scary.
I thought that was so scary. Because, I mean, it's based off a true story.
Right.
So.
And I think it's pretty scary, but Caleb doesn't really find it that scary.
What?
The Strangers. Or at least you told me before.
It's like where they're an engaged couple, and they spend an evening in a cabin, and then the people break in. I thought that
was scary.
And they have a mask, and then she's like,
maybe you were just lying to me.
Why are you doing this?
Was I talking about something else?
No, you were over at my house. It was probably high school, maybe middle school. Maybe you were just trying to be tough or something. Like, we had the copy of the movie, and like I brought it out. I was like, "This movie's really scary," and you're like, "That movie's not that scary." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I honestly do not remember that.
And like I told.
I've watched it. And I thought it was horrifying.
And I told my sister, I was like, "Caleb does think it's scary." She's like, "He's lying."
Well, she's right. I was definitely lying.
Because remember the lines like she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And they're like,
"Because we were here."
Home.
Yeah, and that was
like,
horrifying.
oh god.
Like, I think that's one of the most horrifying movies in recent years, just because like the whole. Most movies, you can look at the bad guy and you're like, oh, this is why they're doing this, that. But with the bad guys in that movie, they're just doing it because they're just sadistic people. And just from the beginning, as soon as like they knock on the door, and it's just like the girl there, and she goes, "Is such and such home?" And he goes, "No, there's no one here." "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah." She closes the door. I'm like, "Well,
you did."
Y'all should just leave.
He's trying to leave, but,
and then just the whole scene where she's in the kitchen like washing her hands, and he just like walks into the room and just like looks at her a couple seconds, and then just like walks back out.
So it's like you might be watching that at home, and it's
right?
Like, cool. So if I'm watching this, I could get murdered too.
There was another pretty recent horror movie called Hush.
That was a good one. And
I like that one.
She's
deaf.
Yeah.
That was
on Netflix. That was yeah.
It felt similar to The Strangers, just in the sense that like there was things that you as the viewer could see that the main character didn't know of, and you're just like, no.
But she can't do it 'cause it's also a movie.
But with like The Strangers, it's almost like you don't want them to turn around. You're just like, no, just let them go. I don't want
Please.
Yeah, I love The Strangers. I mean. I love that it frightens me.
Yeah. And apparently, I was a dumb, stupid kid.
I remember it. Like
I have no recollection of that.
I remembered it so specifically because whenever I was a kid, I was like, "Man, Caleb just does not get scared by anything."
Like that is not true, and that is not true.
Because I remember because at the time that was one of the scariest movies I had seen, and then you were like, "Yeah, that movie wasn't scary," and then me and Shane were both just like, "Wow, how." He wasn't scared by it.
What might have also happened is probably...
Maybe you hadn't seen it yet.
I hadn't seen it yet, or I thought it was something else.
Yeah, because I remember me and Mom watched it, and we were both like, okay.
I probably saw it and I thought it was something else.
Well, and I mean, in middle school, like, you're still pretty young. I remember there's tons of things whenever I was younger, whereas... Like, you want to seem tough. Like the smarter, like the tough one, what have you. It's like, yeah, that one was just scary.
Really, on the inside, you're like...
Inside, you're like, please don't make me watch it!
You're not scared, are
you? Oh, God. That was the scariest thing of this episode.
Oh, God.
You made my sister cry.
Let's watch The Strangers now. Let's go rent a cabin out in the woods and then watch The Strangers.
Austin, why do you hate me?
Okay, so that was our little discussion on horror movies. Let us know in the comments down below what you guys like in a horror movie. What are some of your favorite horror movies? What are your thoughts on some of the ones we talked about today? Maybe ones we didn't talk about that you could recommend to us. I'm always open for new horror movies.
Or if we're too much of a pussy, like if we thought that.
Yeah, if you're like, yeah, you guys just.
Man, you
The
guys.
Strangers isn't scary.
Where y'all balls at? Come on.
Your balls ain't dropped yet? Is that what's going on?
God.
Okay,
And if you like these little podcasts, then let us know.
maybe we'll throw them in every once in a while. This was kind of just a spur of the moment type thing, but it's fun. We just chat. It's basically what we not chat.
Chet? Oh my god,
I
I
miss
love
Chet.
Chet was a horror movie all his own.
No, Chet was.
He
big.
was my hero.
He was your hero.
He was my hero.
I don't want to know who the villain is, though. Oh, look, whenever we come back, new video games, new fun times. Not horror movies. We can't show those on the channel. We get copyrighted. That'd be fun. Like a riff tracks on like a horror movie. We're not clever enough to do a riff track. I'll be real honest with it. Oh, look, we'll be back. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.